Any tech or any conversation that you found interesting so far? How is that informing your technology strategy and kind of how you're thinking of the world? What is the single most proud moment of your career? What do we have to do to capitalize on that and not waste this opportunity?
Welcome to 5 Minutes, your fast track to smarter insurance technology and stronger leadership. In the next 5 minutes, we're going to show you a better way to lead, scale, and innovate without the chaos. Let's get into it.
Any tech or any conversation that kind of you found interesting so far?
I mean, we're always interested, right? And it really just becomes a conversation of how will it meet our needs or how is it going to transform our thinking, right? So there's a few partners that are here today that we are currently doing business with or that we have talked to in the past or that we've had relationships with for many years. So it kind of runs the full spectrum. But right now, I think it's really about just understanding, like we write in this area, right? Because we're in Connecticut right now. Our majority of our book is in your neighboring state of New York. And so it's always just good to see what's happening in the area as much as what's happening in tech. Right?
Yep. So we were talking a little bit before the show about, how your company, Kingstone, you guys are in growth mode. How is that informing your technology strategy and kind of how you're thinking of the world?
I mean, really, for us, it's about building the best products, right? And the most accurately rated and things like that. So it's, we're with this move into California, we're absolutely partnering with new vendors, with new technology. We're because it's new perils. And so we're not completely changing how we built this product as much as we are understanding the market and then reacting to that to the best of our ability with the technology we have available to us, right?
Yep.
And a huge piece of that is just data and understanding everything that's available, not only from our vendor partners, but what we will start to consume the second we go live.
Got it.
Right?
Got it.
So
how are you thinking about the customer and all of this and the customer of the future and the new generation of insurance customer? How is that influencing your business?
I mean, the new customer coming up is more informed and they're more tech forward, right? And so anytime that you are considering Kingstone or not, building a new product or looking at your platforms and figuring out what's next, there's to me, there's a couple things. One, you have to think about a scalable future state, right? Does this support double my business? 5 times my business? And if it doesn't, why not? But then also, what offerings can I tap into with my existing ecosystem, or how can I layer other technology in my existing ecosystem to enhance that technology experience, right? So, I mean, I know at its core what insurance is. All of us do, right? It's required. We understand basics of what our coverage is and things like that. But when you're in this, when you build it, when you learn it, understand it to the level that all of these people have, it's so much more than that. And so you not only want to make sure that your customers feel taken care of, feel like they have a relationship with you, right? Think about it. How often do you just pay your insurance bill and you're just like, oh man, another premium again, but you're not getting something in return, or you're not feeling like they care about you. You're paying them thousands of dollars potentially a year for a homeowner's policy, and that's it, right? So, a lot of times, especially now, the conversation is shifting to well, what are we going to give them in return? What are we going to give them for, I don't want to say loyalty, but just, how are we going to make sure that they feel taken care of by us, right? Whether it's that we offer them more tech or cooler options, or, we consider partnerships that would be advantageous to them as well as us. But more often than not, I think it's just making sure that they understand that we're there to help them, not just to service them if they ever have a claim, but literally we want to help them understand how to maintain their home better and how to avoid claims and, things like that, because all that matters.
Yeah.
And really, where do you get that if not from your insurance company? Right.
Yeah. So it's a relationship.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I think that, I think it's so easy in today's world. It is so easy to switch companies.
Sure.
Think about it.
Yeah.
When I was 16 and got my very first car insurance policy, I stayed with that company until I moved away and they were no longer an option.
Right.
But like, I never considered shopping. I never considered, like, I was loyal because my parents used them, right? It wasn't. Nowadays, though, like if you can get a policy $10 cheaper, it costs you nothing to switch.
That's right.
So there's no need to be loyal unless you feel like there's something there that you're getting.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important to people.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So you mentioned New York.
Yeah.
You mentioned California.
Yeah.
Two super easy markets to do business.
I mean, massive markets, right? Like just there's so much need, which is awesome, right?
I love it.
Yeah.
But how do you as a young or a smaller company in growth?
I was going to say we are not young, sir. Right? But we just celebrated 140 years.
So correct that.
Yeah.
More of a kind of in growth mode, but not necessarily the scale of a big, massive national carrier.
Yeah.
How are you guys dealing with the regulatory complexities of those markets that seem like, to me, it feels like it would be heavy?
I mean, every state is different, right? And so that's what we're going to have jobs forever because of exactly that reason. Think about it. Like, products are products, rates are rates, and everyone's got their flavor of what makes them unique. But at the end of the day, every state has different regulatory requirements. We have our own audit and compliance requirements, right? It depends where you're domiciled compared to where you do business. And so all of that continues to be a huge part of the conversation, and not because it's insurmountable, but because it's unique to that state, right? So like when we consider building a product, the first thing we kind of ask ourselves is, well, how similar is it to New York, right? Yeah. And if it's far off, then off we go to build a whole new product full of unique new things. But if it's similar to New York, at least we have a good starting point, right? Or I always say that New York is kind of like the gold standard for things like PII, PCI, right? That compliance need. Mm-hmm. And so, if another state has lower requirements, it doesn't mean we're going to lower the requirements. No. We're going to keep it up there because that's the best thing to do for the consumer. So it all depends, right? But at the end of the day, like, every state's different. Yep. So,
well, it's kind of fascinating because in that regard, you've set the lowest common denominator so high that you could get into any other state relatively
literally
easy.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why, like, that's the mindset, right? Is that when, like, again, product aside, from just a purely technology perspective, if New York has a standard and I meet it, I automatically meet it for almost every other state out there.
Done.
You
got
exactly.
100%. No, I get it. I get it. No, that makes good sense.
Good. All right. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Uh-oh.
First of all, how's it going for you? You've been here. You've been doing this. Yeah.
So listen, to your point, the opportunity to meet with people.
I know, right? I love networking.
It is what it is. Yeah. I've got relationships that I've had for 15 years in this business. Yeah. And what's fascinating for me is that, I look forward to these conferences as an opportunity to kind of like reconnect, because otherwise you don't, right?
Of course.
You got people all over the country.
We're in a remote world at this point. So it's 100%. Like, if you don't see them in person a couple times a year or once a year. You got it.
And then it's also too, it's a great opportunity for me, especially in my role as a consultant. I have to know, which new vendors are out there.
What
I have
they
to
do.
know what the lingo is and kind of just constantly be thinking about what that would look like for my clients. And then also too, just having an opportunity to talk to, the regulators here. And so the, Commissioner of Connecticut is here. He's actually new. Andrew Mays and I, we've done some discussions before that, but he left the post.
Nice.
And so it's just an opportunity to reconnect with all those folks. It's really
That's
great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What is the most interesting thing you've heard so far from somebody sitting in this chair?
Wow.
Right?
I know. That's a good.
It's still early too. So
it is still early. So I had a guest kind of frame something kind of interesting for me. And when you think about what it means in practice, of course it's intuitive, but the wording was really interesting. And he said, "What is my relationship with my data?"
Ooh, I like that.
I really even thought about it that way.
It's evolved over the years, that's for sure.
Exactly.
I'm going to talk about that later. Don't ruin this.
I won't mess that up for you. But when you think about, it's like you've got, we've talked about how insurance, we're data rich and information poor.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's this question that says, how am I building a relationship with my data, and how am I understanding the relationships between the different pieces of data?
Yep.
And, and by the way, this is like all what he educated me on is that, this is all business speak for data graphing and vectoring. And it's just all of these things that we use like these technical terms for, but it's really, what's your relationship?
It is. Yeah.
So I think that was my number one takeaway.
That's awesome.
From a podcast. From the show.
No, I think, and that's like I said, I'm going to talk about this later, as you know, but it is so interesting now that I'm here and knowing what we're going to be talking about at 1:00, that question, not that specifically, but I love it, has been sort of ruminating for a while now because I think back to not only when I first joined Kingstone, but even prior carriers. And I think about the relationship we had with data then. Yeah. And it was purely, I need it for reports. I need it for an understanding, right, of the numbers or where we're at a point in time. And I know that AI is a huge buzzword right now.
Yeah, of course.
Love that for all of us. But I will say that this shift in thinking and AI coming into our space is having a wild and massive effect on how we look at our data, right?
Forward,
because it's no longer just, I want to see a colorful, beautiful report. It literally is like, well, how do we use it to make decisions, right? And so it is, I think, whether you are a company that heavily utilizes AI, is just starting to think about it, it doesn't matter where you are in your journey. It's more like, how are you preparing yourself to take that next step?
Exactly.
And I think more today than ever in the past, data is a massive part of that.
Got it.
Like, it's crazy.
No, you're exactly right, Sarah. And it's funny because as I've thought about the work that I do, there was this opportunity for me to go pivot AI.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not that I'm not interested in AI and what it can bring to the table.
We all are. It's awesome.
It's awesome. But what I've done instead, which has been really fascinating, is that I've been using AI because it's the impetus that my business partners need to finally focus on things that they had previously thought was unsexy.
Yeah.
Whether it's data or architecture.
Right. Processes.
Exactly. Yeah. These are things that's like no one wanted to think about it. But now they say, well, I want this new cool, sexy agent that I saw at the show. Yep. I'm like, well, what are you going to plug it into?
Thank you. And how are you going to train it?
Exactly.
How are you going to let it make decisions? All that. Yeah. And what's funny is that, remember RPA?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh my gosh.
So that was the hot thing, 10 years ago. I don't want to age either of us. But I think about that, and that right there called to the industry at that time to think about your processes, right? Because the whole goal was to take it and turn it into automation.
That's right.
It was like, take all your manual processes and make a robot do it for you. And so for the past 10 years, probably less than that now because AI's emerged. Yep. But all the discussions were around, how do you automate a process? Or how do you take a manual process and turn it into an automated process? And I love that for us. Yep. But this is the next step. The next step is, great, you figured out how to automate your really shitty, really manual processes. Love it. But now the next step is, how do you let AI make the decision about what to automate
with confidence,
right?
With confidence.
And like you said, it's not just because the easy part is the tech, right? I always say that the easiest part is the software, the hardware, the resources. The hardest part is, how is it regulated?
Yes.
How do you check it, right? How do you make sure that the DFS isn't going to have a problem with what you built? How do you prove year over year in an audit that what you built is still, doesn't have bias, is model still drift. Completely, all of that stuff. Yeah. And that is why, like I said, we will always have jobs, sir.
That's exactly right.
Because not everybody has the ability to navigate every part of that in-house, but also it is so easy to lose sight of the little things that are required of you as a carrier along the way, right? Yep. Or have that not be a consideration that you make because you're really focused on the cool new tech that's out there.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Good.
Can I throw one back at you now?
Please.
What is the singular most proud technical accomplishment that you have achieved? And by the way, when I say technical, even expand that to, kind of the business that you kind of were able to impact. But what is the single most proud moment of your career as an insurance technologist?
I mean, there's many. I think that, so I do my best work when I'm like fixing things or when there's a problem to solve, right? Like I love that part of my job. I am not the girl who keeps the lights on.
Yes.
I'm not, but like if somebody approached me and was like, I just need you to keep my physical data center up and running, I'd be like, cool story, no thanks, right? So when I think back to all of my career, my proudest moments are when we delivered, right? When we built, when we not only took a business problem and solved it with technology or had, delivered a product to market or whatever. It's when you see the direct output and impact that what you just built with your partners has changed their day to day, has upgraded their life at work. Those are the ones that just get me every time. Yeah. Like I love it because that's what you're here for, right? You're here to deliver what your partners need. Again, within the audit, compliance, regulatory constraints and things like that. But it's super cool just to know that the impact that you have across the company, it can be seen in almost real time, right? So, I've done many implementations over the years. I've been with a couple different carriers now, and many things come to mind, but it's always we delivered, and that feels really good. Yep. No,
I love that. Yeah. I love that. One last question for you.
Has it been 15 minutes already?
It's actually been more than that. We're crushing it. I've been refreshed in this industry because I'm sensing a changing of the guards.
Really?
I just wanted to see if you're seeing that or
in what
if you're
way?
Feeling that. Well, there's first off, there's young, cool people like us,
obviously,
that are now kind of coming into the leadership ranks and doing really cool things, right? And maybe that's actually part of it, where I feel like there's more of a willingness to question how we've always done it.
100%.
And so, so you're sensing that.
Yeah. I mean, again, AI for all the buzz and hot topic it is right now. Like I said before, it is really making people think.
Yes.
It is no longer about accepting processes the way they've always been or doing business the way you've always done it. Everyone's thinking is shifting.
Yes.
And I think that, I always say insurance in and of itself isn't a necessarily sexy topic, right? Like it's not, let's be honest. But the power in the technology that backs it is amazing.
It is.
And that is what makes it such a cool industry to work in, because even though the product itself isn't super cutting edge, right? It's still the capabilities and the capacity for growth and learning and shifting mindsets is like endless.
Yeah.
And I love that for us. So even look around the room, right? You are seeing a lot more young.
Yep.
I saw a gentleman with a mohawk earlier and I was like, you go. I love that, right? Because it's not just for old white guys anymore. Let's be honest, right? Like,
I love it. And by the way, you just given me a really interesting nugget there, because you codified something for me. People have asked me, I've been in the industry for a little bit over 20 years, and what drives me to be in this industry? Why do I love it? Yeah. And I was like, insurance is sexy, but you hit it exactly right. Insurance is not sexy.
It's not.
It's what's behind it that is sexy.
Exactly.
And that's what I've got to explain to people. That on the surface of it, you know what? So you've helped me with my recruiting.
Yes.
I mean, this has been amazing.
Good.
But I just want to I want to kind of follow up on that last question. Sure. That momentum, this changing of the guards. What do we have to do to capitalize on that and not waste this opportunity?
I mean, I don't look at any opportunity as a waste as much as I look at it as a learning experience, right? So like, I have failed. There is no doubt. Over my career, I have had failures. Yep. So as much as I've delivered, I've probably equally as much failed in other areas as well. Sure. I'm a human being and technology is not perfect, and neither am I. Yep. But I think that my biggest thing is fail faster every time as much as you possibly can, but learn from it, right? And as long as you took something away, that is an opportunity to do it better next time, to make a different decision. Like, again, back to data, the more data you have, the better informed your decisions become in the future, right? So I don't think that anyone is going to lose in this momentum and in this moment. At the very least, everyone will learn.
I love that. I love that.
And that's just as important, I think.
That's an awesome takeaway. Sara, thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. Absolutely.
Thank you for joining this episode of 5 Minutes. If you've enjoyed our discussion, we'd love for you to share with anyone else you think might find it interesting. Also, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on and hit that bell to stay on top of the game with our practical 5-minute episodes. We look forward to seeing you again next week.